And now for something completely different.
What's happening, everybody? Hope you guys are feeling great. I'm Team Kills, and what I like to do is make gaming easier. So, Koumei, I know. I'm saying them all wrong. Our status spreading fortune maiden, or the beginner frame. Now, technically, she's on the very first planet. She's technically easier to get as far as drop rates compared to some other frames, and technically she takes less time to build in the foundry. Now you can buy her parts from the event shop instead of earning her, so technically she's easier to get for beginners, but this doesn't make her a beginner frame. It makes her the easy frame, which by the way is what we do here, make gaming easier, so she's perfect for us. But is she an endgame frame? Well, yes. Some would say they all are, but is she a good end game frame? And yes, I'll prove it. First, very quickly, her abilities. Her first ability is her status webs or status storm. Anything that comes in it is going to get a status that's going to murder it. Just damage of all colors and flavors. Usually the one you want. Usually the one that will kill the faction the best, especially if you're using the Archon mods. Her second ability are the decrees. They're like scratch and win cards, just like in scratch and win. It's just like the decrees that you see in the Undercroft. It's going to ask you to jump through a hoop, and when you do, you're going to get a buff as a reward. The longer you do it, the more buffs you get. So this is a good ability. Her third ability is her health charms. There's charms that will circle you, and when people are shooting at you, there's a 50% chance that is going to give you health instead of damage. Now, it's a good thing that people are always shooting at you, so you get a good chance for getting a lot of health. And her fourth ability just strings everybody up in what I like to call Pinocchio land of pain, that is, where people just hang and get pain. It's actually kind of creepy when you listen for the little song. You know, to me it's kind of soothing, actually kind of like lullaby. I could probably go to sleep with that, but I've been told I have a problem. Anyhow, moving on. Whenever you cast one of her abilities, she rolls her dice right in this icon down here. Now if you roll triple sixes, it buffs all of her abilities. Her first ability, her status storm, all the status. It just buffs and all the status is there. And her second ability with the decrees, decree is just completed and you get the buff. Move on to the next one. If it happens triple sixes with your third ability, you're invincible. It's one of the best ones, and I believe if it happens with your fourth one, it's just more pain in Pinocchio land, and I think it sucks people in too. I'm not sure. I put the correct thing up on the screen. Now, as for her second ability, or her decrees, I'm not a fan of them. The abilities are good, especially if you're in an endless game mode. The more decrees you get, the better you get. But they're random. My luck sucks, and I don't want any part of that. So, there are a lot of good ability swaps which you don't have to do, but if you did, you could use something like Dante's Dark Verse and spread some slash around with your status. It's a good thing to be spreading as well. You could use Nourish, which technically isn't really necessary, especially if you have the Archon mods. Sickening Pulse is, well, it's great for status. It's just going to be more status damage out there. Haro's chains are great because they will give you some crowd control, they give you some shields, and most importantly, they can make people stay in your status storm. Along with Nidus's larva, it's a good way to bring people into your status storm. And if people are dying in your Pinocchio land, I need to think better names for these, but if your people are dying in your Pinocchio land, Reeve is a great way to fly through them and get some health as they're dying. Elemental Ward is another good thing to just use period because of all the status. Same with Fractured Blast. If you want to prime people that are in your status storm or your Pinocchio land, they're just going to drop more things like health orbs and energy. It's going to be even better. Mag's Pull will pull people into all the bullshit you want to kill them with. You might want to use Zartel's Whisper. I don't suggest it. Roar and Gloom, a course are always good choices. Little cheesy, but great choices. I almost chose Thanos' Caliban's Theros Strike, which of course causes impact. I love impact damage because it raises or lowers Eximus' mercy bar so you can stab them in the face. This ability also strips armor and it heals you as well. But I didn't end up picking that one. I ended up going to good old Breach Surge. With this build, I get 31 meters for 21 seconds, and it's going to multiply all the damage that I'm doing 3.5 times, just a little bit more. And 35% status chance, but it's welcome, but almost not needed. Now this is a good chance to use the Arcane Impetus. I'm probably saying that wrong. This will give you a boost every time you get a unique status effect, which, by the way, a unique status effect is a status effect caused by your abilities. But I ended up choosing Arcane Bellicose or Bellico, whatever. I chose this one because it will give me a 6% ability boost per every 250 health. And I ended up pairing Bellicose with Arcane Blessing. This is going to give me health on my health every time I pick up health. I said that in the dumbest way possible. This will increase my max health every time I pick up health orbs. It will max out at an extra 1200 health on top of my health. Now the more health I get, the more ability power I'm going to get because of Bellicose. So the healthier I get, the stronger I get. I'm going to stop saying health. Now all my weapons are heavy or high, it's a better word to put it, are high status weapons. And you technically, you don't need to do this because Koumei's passive, said her name wrong, Koumei's passive is every 60 seconds, one of her weapons is going to have a guaranteed status effect for 60 weapons. But I have a hard time figuring out which one is cycling through. So I just make sure that all my weapons are 100% status weapons. It just makes life easier for me. Now, I also use status weapons because of growing power and coaction drift. Every time my status weapon gets a status effect, which is every time I use it, it's going to make my ability stronger with those arcanes as well. And coaction drift is just going to make this mod stronger. Now you should, or could, but you should use all of the Archon mods. I made the mistake before where I didn't use the Archon Intensify because I didn't think she had an ability that directly healed her to give her that 30% ability boost. But her charms are an ability that directly heal her. I don't know how I missed that one. You just can't control it because they will only heal her when people are shooting at you. You got a 50% chance to get that health. So it'll come, but there's no real way to control it. Now I don't actually have any Archon shards on her, but if I did, one would be a yellow Tau Forge shard to give me an extra 150% on health orbs when I pick them up to build my health. Two would be 2 blue Tau Forge shards to give me 450 extra health for all that power and health scaling. And the last 2 would be 2 orange Tau Forge shards linked to the blast one. So it will give me more health and even more health every time I kill someone with blast. And by the way, my weapons happen to be 100% blast. So what this ends up doing is making it almost no matter what I do, I'm going to get extra health. And the more health I get, the more ability power I get as I play. That's the power creep that I wanted, and I don't have to think about it. She can easily take out level 200 heavy armored asshole Greniers. No problem. But she's glassy. I do not want to pretend for 1 second that she's not made of really, really thin glass. And if you flick a steel path pebble at her, she will shatter. I'm talking full structural failure. So you have to make sure to keep your crowd control abilities working and make sure to keep your charms up. When those are up, the enemies will go down. If your charms are down, there's a good chance you will go down. Now I did choose the Vasca Vampire, or the Space Vampire pussy, but I chose the Vasca Vampire Kavat so that when I go down, it'll bring me back up. But there are a few different sentinels, a few different ways that you can bring yourself back to life, which are all good ideas. Use as many as you can, because like I said, she is glassy. But she's not a beginner frame, as in, she's not a frame that should be stuck at the beginning of the game. You can take her to Steel Path, just gonna have to move a bit. Now, I said picking high stats weapons is a great idea. Picking her signature staff, that's an even better idea. Picking her signature rifle, it's not a good idea at all. But her signature staff, oh, that's a completely different video in itself, but that has a lot of extra status things that has just worked perfect for this. All I'm trying to say is, she's not a beginner frame as far as the things you want to take on with her. Now, on that note, I hope this helped. I hope you join the team of killers. Become a killer of teams. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. It's only one of the ways we could talk. Make sure you keep it easy in life. And remember, just keep gaming.